Before the world knew her as the queen of the 400 meters, before records, medals, and unforgettable finishes, Femke Bol was just a quiet girl growing up in the Netherlands. Femke Bol was born on February 23, 2000, in Amersfoort, a historic city in the heart of the Netherlands. She grew up in a calm, supportive environment, far from the global spotlight she would later command. Her family was not famous. Not professional athletes. Just active, grounded people who believed in balance. From a young age, Femke's parents encouraged movement, not pressure. Sports were about joy, health, and curiosity. There were no expectations of medals or records. No early talk of Olympic dreams. And at first, athletics wasn't even her plan. As a child, Femke tried many different sports. She played gymnastics, experimented with handball, and stayed active like many kids her age. But nothing felt permanent. Nothing felt like her thing. Then, almost by accident, track and field entered her life. At around age 7, Femke joined a local athletics club, not because she wanted to be a champion, but because it looked fun. Running, jumping, throwing, everything felt new, playful, and free. What made Femke different wasn't explosive speed or flashy talent. It was consistency. She showed up. She listened. She worked. While other kids chased attention, Femke quietly absorbed instructions, focused on technique, and improved week by week. Coaches noticed something unusual, not dominance, but discipline. As she grew older, Femke still didn't stand out as a sprint prodigy. In fact, early on, she was considered average. No junior records. No national headlines. No viral moments. But there was one thing that kept pulling her back to the track. She loved the process. Training didn't scare her. Repetition didn't bore her. Progress, even slow progress, motivated her. Her family played a key role in this phase. They protected her from pressure, allowing her to develop at her own pace. School remained important. Life remained normal. Athletics stayed fun. This quiet foundation would become her greatest weapon. Because while others peaked early, Femke Bol was just getting started. For years, Femke Bol trained quietly. No hype. No spotlight. No shortcuts. But as she entered her teenage years, something began to change. Around the age of 15 to 16, Femke's consistency started to turn into results. Not overnight, but steadily, unmistakably. She began improving across multiple events, flat sprints, longer distances, and eventually the hurdles. Her first real breakthrough came at the national youth level. Femke started winning medals at Dutch junior championships, not by dominating from the start, but by finishing stronger than everyone else. Again and again, races followed the same pattern. She stayed calm early, controlled her rhythm, and surged late. Coaches noticed something crucial. Femke didn't panic under pressure. She didn't rush. She didn't fall apart when races got hard. That mental stability became her signature. During this period, she was still not fully committed to one event. Femke competed in the 200 meters, 400 meters, and relays, experimenting, learning her body, understanding how she responded to fatigue. Then came a decision that changed everything. Her coaches suggested something unusual. The 400-meter hurdles. At first, it wasn't obvious. Hurdles demand rhythm, courage, and precision, not just speed. Many athletes struggle to adapt. Femke didn't. From her very first races over the hurdles, it was clear. This event suited her perfectly. Her long stride, smooth running style, and natural endurance allowed her to maintain speed between barriers. While others fought the hurdles, Femke flowed through them. And suddenly, the wins came faster. She began collecting national junior titles, setting personal bests almost every race. International competitions followed. At European junior events, Femke wasn't just participating, she was contending. Still, what made her story unique was this. She wasn't the loudest talent. She wasn't the fastest teenager. But she was the most reliable. Around this time, Femke made a serious choice. She decided to commit fully to athletics. School remained important, but training intensity increased. The schedule became stricter. Recovery, technique, and long-term development took priority. This wasn't a hobby anymore, it was a path. Her first major international victory confirmed that the decision was right. Femke Bol began winning medals at European U20 competitions, proving that her calm, methodical approach worked not just at home, but against the best young athletes in Europe. For the first time, the Netherlands had a new name to watch. And yet, even with medals around her neck, Femke stayed the same. Quiet. Focused. Patient. She wasn't chasing fame. She was building something bigger. By the time Femke Bol entered the senior level, one thing was already clear. She wasn't rushing. While many young athletes try to force success early, Femke and her team stayed patient. Every step was calculated. Every season had a purpose. Her international senior breakthrough came in 2021. That year, Femke stepped onto the European stage not as a favorite, but as a quiet outsider. No loud predictions. No pressure. Just execution. At the European Indoor Championships, she shocked the athletics world. Femke won gold in the 400 meters, running with maturity far beyond her age. Calm at the start, controlled through the curve, and devastating in the final straight, she didn't just win, she announced herself. But that was only the beginning. Later that year, Femke made her Olympic debut at the Tokyo 2020 Games. It was her first experience on the biggest stage in sport, and she didn't look intimidated. She reached the final of the 400-meter hurdles, finishing 6th in the world. No medal, but something far more important, credibility. The message was clear. Femke Bol belonged. In 2022, everything accelerated. At the World Athletics Indoor Championships, she claimed silver in the 400 meters, confirming that her European success was no accident. Then came the outdoor season, and her true transformation. Femke dominated the European Championships, winning gold in the 400-meter hurdles and gold in the 4x400 relay. Every great athlete is eventually defined by a rival. For Femke Bol, that rival is Sydney McLaughlin. 2 women. 2 styles. One event that was completely rewritten by their presence. When Femke Bol began dominating Europe, one name already ruled the world: Sydney McLaughlin. Olympic champion. World record holder. A once-in-a-generation talent. At first, the comparison felt unfair. Sydney was breaking world records. Femke was still building her identity. But quietly, the gap began to shrink. While Sydney's career exploded early, Femke followed a different path: slower, steadier, more methodical. She improved season by season, cutting tenths, then hundredths, then fractions of hundredths. By 2022, the rivalry became real. At the World Championships in Eugene, Femke ran the race of her life. She finished 3rd, behind Sydney, but her time was historic. Faster than any woman in history, except one. For the first time, people asked the unthinkable. Could anyone actually challenge Sydney McLaughlin? The answer came in 2023. With Sydney absent from major competitions, Femke seized the moment. She didn't hesitate. She didn't wait. She broke the world record in the 400-meter hurdles, not once, but multiple times in a single season. What once seemed impossible suddenly became reality. Femke Bol was no longer chasing history. She was writing it. And yet, the rivalry never became hostile. No trash talk. No ego. Only respect. Sydney represents raw, explosive brilliance. Femke represents precision, endurance, and control. One dominates through power. The other through rhythm. When they are both on the track, the sport holds its breath. Because this rivalry isn't about hate or drama. It's about pushing human limits. Every time Femke Bol lines up, the world wonders. Is this the race where she finally meets Sydney again? Is this the moment history is rewritten once more? And that question alone has changed the 400-meter hurdles forever. When Femke Bol started breaking records, it didn't feel sudden. It felt inevitable. Years of patience, discipline, and quiet belief had been building toward one moment, the season where everything aligned. That season was 2023. With the pressure of expectations and the absence of her biggest rival on the track, Femke faced a simple choice: hesitate or lead. She chose to lead. At the Diamond League, race after race, Femke pushed the boundaries of the 400-meter hurdles. Her stride pattern was flawless. Her rhythm was unshakable. And then, history fell. Femke Bol broke the world record in the 400-meter hurdles. And she didn't stop there. Within the same season, she lowered the record again, proving the first time was no accident. Each race became a battle not against competitors, but against time itself. What made this run historic wasn't just the stopwatch. It was the consistency. Femke won every single Diamond League race she entered that season. No losses. No off days. Just control from start to finish. But her dominance didn't end with individual races. When the Netherlands needed her most, Femke delivered under unimaginable pressure. At the World Championships, in the 4x400 mixed relay final, Femke took the baton far behind the leaders. The medal seemed lost. Then she ran one of the greatest relay legs in history. She hunted down the field. She closed the gap. She crossed the line in pure disbelief, delivering gold in the final meters. That moment went viral around the world. Not because of celebration, but because of belief. Belief that anything is possible, even at the very last second. By the end of the season, Femke Bol wasn't just a champion. She was redefining what dominance looked like in women's hurdling. Multiple world records, global recognition, and a new standard that future generations will chase. Femke Bol didn't just win races. She changed the event. Femke Bol's legacy is already written. And yet, her story feels far from finished. She will be remembered as the athlete who redefined the 400-meter hurdles. As the woman who turned consistency into dominance. As the competitor who stayed calm when the world expected chaos. Her impact goes beyond medals and records. Femke Bol changed how the event is run, technically, mentally, and tactically. She proved that rhythm can defeat raw power. That patience can beat hype. That progress doesn't need to be loud to be unstoppable. For the Netherlands, she became a national icon. For young athletes, she became proof that you don't need to peak early to become great. That being overlooked doesn't mean being limited. That quiet confidence can carry you to the very top. But perhaps her greatest legacy is this. Femke Bol delivers when it matters most. Relays, finals, championship moments. When pressure rises, she gets stronger. And now, the future waits. The next chapters include Olympic glory, new world records, and the possibility of more legendary clashes on the biggest stages in sport. Each season brings new questions. How much faster can she go? How many limits are left to break? How long can this era last? One thing is certain. Femke Bol is not chasing history anymore. She is history, still in motion.